Thank you, David, and thank you for everyone for tuning in to our presentation here. Move on to the next slide. And the next slide again, disclaimers, read at your pleasure. Company snapshot. So who Dreadnought is, a bit of an introduction for those of you that may not know of us, and welcome. Hope you enjoy the presentation. Dreadnought Resources, we are a West Australian focused exploration company. We're multiple commodities. We will try and focus today on gold. And I do have quite a few slides to get through, so I'll try not to blitz through it too quickly. One of the things I just want to point out here, we're not a lifestyle company. Board and management have invested over $6.6 million to date. We control about 15% of the company. We are strongly aligned with shareholders, and around 80 to 90% of all funds raised to date have gone into the ground, advancing exploration across multiple commodities, delivering multiple discoveries, as well as resources and gold and rare earths and copper and everything else. So we are a multi-commodity focus. We have quite an advanced portfolio, and we're very excited to continue exploration and this year focusing on the gold and copper with the rare earth signal in the background. Next slide. So Dreadnought strategy, as I said, we are an explorer. We're focused on that front end of the Lassonde curve. We are a project generator and explore and hopefully discover if everything goes well. And what does that look like? So essentially, the team that we have built, we specialize in being covered in flies and sleeping in swags. Coming up with crazy ideas to go peg unexplored and unloved regions of Western Australia, mostly where mineralization is sticking out of the ground, and going out there and applying the first modern exploration techniques, geochemistry, geophysics, putting our brains to it, and making discoveries near surface. We generally view undercover exploration as a graveyard for junior explorers, and so we tend to focus on areas that have been historically unloved for reasons that are not sound geologically. And you'll see our portfolio, that's a reoccurring thing. Success for us on the back of discovery is to be carried into production or sell to a producer. So examples of success delivered there, household names of absolute greatness, and some of the ones that are in progress. That's sort of the spectrum of success that we look for, and of course the commodities that we look for as well. Next slide. So commodity focus going into 2024. As I said, we are a multi-commodity explorer, and we are and always will be. We're here to find metal in the ground in areas that are highly prospective. When you go into greenfields areas and you peg 10-year lakes Mangaroon, which is 5,000 square kilometers, you never know what you're going to get. You go look into the gold fields, that Maximus presentation, fantastic work. You look at that 70 kilometers of area around where they are, and there's so many deposits, there's so many styles of mineralization. And so when you do greenfields exploration, we don't have a head frame. We're not exploring to fill that head frame full of metal. We're here to make that big discovery that is the future head frame. And so we go in eyes wide open. And so we always have optionality and a lot of options for us to do exploration. Going to 2024, that focus has been on gold and copper. And for the last 2 years, been focused on rare earths and critical metals, proving up the Yin and Griffith Creek carbonatite opportunity at Mangaroon. Prices are down there at the moment, though we're starting to see a return in rare earths and continued interest in niobium. So we'll continue to advance some of those things in the background. And of course, anything should change, we have some amazing walk-up targets to get stuck back into. But our focus this year has been on delivering the work program at Central Yilgarn, which I'll touch on, Mangaroon, the Star of Mangaroon Gold Camp, and how that's rapidly evolving story. And then back up to Orion and the Kimberley, where we have our copper gold opportunity, where in 2021 we made the Orion discovery, and we're looking forward to getting back up there and finishing that business. Next slide. Central Yilgarn, next slide. So where is the Central Yilgarn? We got 3 to 4 greenstone belts in the Central Yilgarn region. So we're next door to Ora Banda, Delta Lithium, West Farmers on one side, and we have Ramelius on the other side. It's been called a Bermuda Triangle of the Yilgarn. Early exploration hindered due to isolation, lack of surface water, and the rest. And modern exploration, sort of post-2000s, was dominated by the iron ore explorers. And so this ticks all the boxes for being an unloved and underexplored region, and we've been active out here for quite some time. We see the opportunities out here as a major discovery and the consolidated unloved greenstone belts, similar to what Yamana was back in 2013, 2015. And of course, Hemi, where no gold was supposed to exist in the Pilbara. Certainly, they've changed that mantra pretty bit. So opportunities, we see some commercialization of advanced stage tenure as an option for some of our tenure here. and of course, a joint venture development opportunity for the high-grade Metzke's Find resource up on the Illaara Belt. Next slide. Looking at the gold in this project area, we have several camp scale targets that we have identified as focus for work. We've recently completed some drilling at T1, T2, and T6. The T6 drilling came up and met and exceeded expectations, and that's going to be a focus for us for the remainder of this year, as well as review additional target definition generation across some of the other target areas. And then the other focus on our work at the moment is getting the grant to the mining tenement at Metzke's Find. We've applied for the miscellaneous licenses, and the mining tenement application is in progress, and get that going. And once that's applied for and granted, then we can look at our joint venture mining opportunities. Next slide. So T6, Chicken Little, we did a small drill program out here at Chicken Little, like I said, across T1, T2, and T6, try and chase out some of these walk-up drill targets that have been sitting there for a few years, and get stuck into find out which area we want to come back and focus on second half of this year. Chicken Little, some drill holes underneath some shallow oxides, banded iron formation drilling. We ended up with 17 meters of 4 grams, 28 grams silver from only 53 meters depth, and including 4 meters of 15 grams per ton. Quite exciting. That's the high grade opportunities we're looking for. And the T6 camp is around 3 by 3 kilometers in dimension, 3 kilometers wide, 3 kilometers north to south. There's a number of gold lodes within that T6 gold camp already defined by surface geochemistry and shallow air core drilling, such as Megatron, which has 3 meters at 7, 9 at 2.6, and Snowflake, which has 16 at 1.9, 4 at 8.5. Those areas haven't had much or any RC drilling, aside from the shallow air core drilling on top. So we're very excited to come back and focus on this area second half of the year when we come back down to Central Yilgarn, and see what else we can find and see if we can convert any of these mineralized areas into proper discoveries. Next slide. Metzke's Find, as we alluded to before, this is the resource that we announced last year. They don't all turn into penny wests or never nevers, but that doesn't mean that they're not worth a whole lot. So Metzke's Find, we've got about 15,000 ounces at 6.8 grams per ton, a nice high grade near surface resource with over 10,000 of those ounces in the top 80 meters. On the back of Bright Star and what Black Cat's announced recently, we see this as high-grade gold, shallow, near surface. It's a good opportunity for a joint venture development and feed some of the mills nearby, being located pretty close to Riverina and Menzies. And as we said before, the grant to the mining tenements, and then once those tenements are applied for and granted, seeking partners for joint development of a shallow, high-grade resource. Next slide. Moving on to Mangaroon. Next slide. So what is Mangaroon? Large land holding. We got 5,000 square kilometers here, mostly pegged by us and a few deals consolidated in the region. It's an unloved history, exploration hindered by a lack of government investment in infrastructure, mineralization sticking out of the ground. And Mangaroon really has been the project that keeps on delivering for us. Originally went in for the gold and the nickel. We made the significant rare earth and critical metal discoveries, which I won't talk about today, except for they are taken along in the background, and we continue to work on those. So opportunities for gold, it's a major discovery within our Star of Mangaroon camp, and potentially identifying a new camp, and also joint venture development. We have granted mining tenements across Star of Mangaroon, Pritchard's, Two Peaks, and a few others. So we see that as a near-term development opportunity, put some resources on those mining tenements, applied for miscellaneous licenses, and there's an opportunity to commercialize those with some of the nearby mills. Next slide. So looking at the Star of Mangaroon and sort of zooming in, that is a 1 kilometer strike there. Talk about Star of Mangaroon, discovered and mined by the Watchlist in the 1960s, limited exploration around the historical diggings, and recent drilling by us continues to confirm small high-grade lode, very attractive, all near surface. Those are from 16 meters, 8 to 9 meters depth. And there's no deep drilling and no drilling essentially along that mineralized strike. We have outcropping mineralization and some shallow workings, and exploration drilling here is essentially non-existent. And that's what we look for in projects. That's why we see the opportunity. There's never a guarantee of success in exploration, but if you're going to be looking for a significant discovery, going into these areas that have proven mineralization and no modern exploration or any exploration is a fantastic place to be looking. Next slide. Stepping out, we've done the first airborne magnetic surveys and first detailed geochemical surveys over this region that the Star of Mangaroon camp has ever seen, and that is continuing to evolve. This is an area that was found by prospectors by a quartz vein sticking out of the ground. where's the geochemistry, where's the pathfinders, there's going to be so much more opportunity than just the Star of Mangaroon itself. There's a lot of gold found in this area historically, all done by prospectors, and very little to no major company exploration. So the work that we're doing, the stream sediments, systematic exploration into the soils, we continue to expand the Star of Mangaroon camp, identified a number of targets, and coming up, we have drilling at the historical workings, such as Star of Mangaroon, Two Peaks, Pritchards, and Diamonds, some of which don't have any drilling in them ever, despite historical production. And then commencement of drilling of our new targets, just completed some surveys out here to get approvals. And that's things like Tiger, Rory, and Hudson, and other areas. Very excited. This is a very live and evolving story out here. We've just completed another 2,500, 3,000 soil samples, expanding and infilling on the work that we've already done. So continue to see new targets being generated and new targets being defined as we create a real target-rich environment to come out here and get a couple cracks of drilling in. Next slide. That takes us up to Taraji-Yampi. Next slide. So Taraji-Yampi, again, unexplored since 1978, was off limits to exploration. Mineralization sticking out of the ground, pretty common theme in our project generation here. No mineralization and no exploration. It's a great place to go explore for a junior. Opportunity here is additional high-grade massive sulfide discoveries and of course, high-grade copper-gold epithermal discoveries similar to Grant's. Next slide. The Orion discovery that made in 2021 had some fantastic hits there, such as 16 at 2.2 and 6.6 grams gold. You've got 12 at 1.7 and 5 at 3.7 gold. I've highlighted the gold there as it is a gold-focused presentation. We see Orion, again, this was under a little bit of cover. I think we hit the Gossan at 1 meter depth. So very exciting. We've tested some of the upper zone down to about 100, 150 meters. We have some deep magnetic targets and an evolving target generation and target re-ranking exercise in progress as we speak. And essentially the drilling that we've done over the last year and a half, 2 years, has confirmed that this is a DeBrusa style sort of VMS camp with the copper and the gold. Just had some ex-chief senior geos from Sandfire in doing a review, walking us through, and it's been very exciting to go through and reinvigorate interest in this and see what we're going to get up there and drill this year, including some of the untested major magnetic blowouts, very strong off-hole EM conductors. This is a very gold and copper-rich system, and we're very excited to get back up here and commence drilling, as well as doing IP surveys to generate targets for epithermal. Next slide. So summary of plan for 2024, as we said before, our plan going into this year, very focused on high-grade gold. That's drilling the Central Yilgarn, which we kicked off the year with, and then we'll finish off the year, probably going back down to Central Yilgarn to follow that up. Like gray nomads, we like to work our way north and with the weather and then come back down south. We'll be drilling at Mangaroon, commence in June in 2024. That might be subject to change here in the near future as opportunities present themselves to get up to Kimberley much, much sooner. We continue to have ongoing target generation definition work and look forward to lots of news flow coming out from there. And what's really driving us at the moment, unfinished business, Taraji-Yampi, generate and test, finish off that program, really re-ranking and better understanding those targets that we've generated in the past and get up there and find that next copper gold, find Orion's friends, and also generate and test targets for epithermal. We continue to advance the rare earth niobium in the background. We're starting to see that the rare earth interest tick back up, and niobium interest is maintaining fairly steady. So we'll be doing some work on that as appropriate and looking at options of getting back out there. We have EIS co-funded funding to test the Gifford Creek type targets, and we'll have to look at that later this year. And then, of course, summary plan, giving it to the gold, Metzke's Find, Star of Mangaroon, pursuing the joint venture development options for these gold assets in the current gold market. Next slide. So takeaway message, significant news flow. We put a lot of money in the ground. We still average close to an announcement every single week, putting out exploration across our projects, a lot of boots on ground. We have a track record of delivering discoveries across a number of commodities. Don't have a proper gold discovery in there as of yet as Dreadnought. We do have quite a few in the background as the company and our previous exploration and whatever else, our skills and histories. And so we're poised to deliver those gold and additional discoveries in 2024. And messaging again, 6.6 mil invested to date, 15% board and management ownership. We have a lot of skin in the game, put a lot of money in the ground, and very focused on delivering value for our shareholders. Next slide. And that's it. Back over to you, Mr. Tasker.
Thanks, Dean. JV discussions, you touched on them a few times during the presentation. When do they start occurring, and what does a perfect partner look like?
What does the perfect partner look like? Perfect partner for us across any of our projects is one that brings in the skills and funding capital required to develop a mine. So we are an exploration company. We focus on that front end of the Lassonde curve. So the perfect joint venture partner for us across any of our projects is one that brings in that specialty, that skill, and the ability to bring those mines online. Talking about the ones that, in more specific, Metzke's and Star of Mangaroon, joint venture partners look like people that can help us dig that up and deliver those to local mills, whether that's Star of Mangaroon going up to somewhere, say Paulson's, or down to West Gold and the Bria, or whether that's at Metzke's going to somewhere in Menzies or Banda, Leonora, or down to Ramelius. It's looking for someone that can help us dig those up and essentially take those to mines, commercialize the assets there. They're small and high grade, so we're not going to build a mill in their own right. So it's looking for someone that can come and help us toll mine that and partner with us and split the profits.
Like a number of the other companies who've presented, it appears certainly interesting projects that have a lot of exploration potential in regions that are overlooked in some respects by the majors. Why do you think the majors are overlooking them? But also, similarly to the previous presenters, therein lies the opportunity.
That's right. Why are the majors overlooking them? I wouldn't say the majors are overlooking them. We have had a number of majors in the room across our projects from day one. I think it's more along the lines of the majors tend to like to acquire assets these days as opposed to go out and explore them themselves. Within Dreadnought, we've got experience with BHP, Rio Tinto, Goldfields, and many others. So we've all worked inside the beasts themselves and see how they operate and have the networks there as well. I wouldn't say that the majors aren't interested. I'd say the majors aren't interested in the ground, saying the majors probably aren't interested in doing the exploration themselves.
And just touching on that, when you're discussing with majors sort of your own exploration ideas, techniques, and plans, do you think there becomes a time, we've seen it historically, but do you think there becomes a time where Dreadnought potentially could be the exploration partner of choice for some of these majors who don't want to take the exploration risk, but do want to see the results of projects developing?
Yes and no. I'd say there's a couple sides to that, and there's many angles that you could pursue that down. You look at some of the options, like South 32's got a couple long-term partnerships that they sort of go in. They're sort of, would we, we look at the commodities that we cover. Is someone going to come in and we're here to be taken out? We're here to go into development. We're here to actually make that big discovery and create that competitive tension. If you partner with someone early on to find things for them, and there's no guarantee of competitive tension that you're going to be taken out for a bidding war later down the line, we find that unattractive. So partner with someone early on. If we define a target of shareholder money, we are going to drill that target of shareholder money, and a major can buy the discovery that we make. If we haven't made a defined target yet, then a major can come in and partner with us, and we would explore with them on the condition they free carry us to production. In order to have some sort of long-standing arrangements where they get sort of an option over all of our things that prevents competitive tension down the line, a discovery that we make, that's unattractive to us. So there's a few different ways to skin that. Anyone that comes on board and wants to take us into development, that's one thing. But if we generate a target and you think you're going to come in and drill that target that we've defined with shareholder money for us and for the free kick, then I don't think so. We're going to make that discovery ourselves. We're going to see that upside, that front of the Lassonde curve. So either come with us for the journey up the Lassonde curve, or you buy us out at the top.
Unequivocal there. Thanks, Dean. A great presentation. Clearly a portfolio that is yielding strong results. Exciting times ahead for Dreadnought. We look forward to following with interest.
Thank you very much, David.